Well. Evening, everybody, and welcome to the Live Lounge, brought to you by the Block 9 podcast. Yes, you're with myself tonight, Mike the Crazy Pilgrim, and we also have Gavin in with us, Marcus, Andy, and Carl is back as well. So, it's been a bit poor recently, isn't it? A bit depressing, a bit fed up, and we only went and got an away win. Come on, you beauties! After nearly 12 months without an away win, we go to Fratton Park and we win it 2-1. And yes, Hardy was there to make the difference and score the goals. Where did Carl disappear to?
He was here as well.
There he is. He's back.
No, I'm here.
Look, I'm very positive. I've been very positive. I'm fighting for this survival still. And that yesterday after Tuesday night's results were absolutely vital. Gavin, a bit of a massive relief, But it's not over yet.
Huge relief. We actually got a team that can win away from home, I think. My wife even reminded me when I got off the train late tonight that we were the last team in the whole of the Football League to get an away win. Thanks for that stat, Mrs. Jones. Great performance in a niche kind of style, I suppose. It was a typical Miron performance. Very low block at times, good counter. Massively beneficial to have three forwards that can actually run quick, have power, have pace, and all of them know where the goal is. That was quite a nice, a refreshing change. Midfield I thought was poor again. We were non-existent. Every time we won the ball back, we aimlessly gave it back to the opposition to put a dampener on things. But actually, the fight, the grit, the determination, everything that we've wanted for weeks in away and home performances was there in abundance. So you can't really knock it, can you?
No, absolutely. And Marcus, it was a bit of a tight, and evening Steve, who's in as well now with us, it was a bit of a tight start. I think I felt that we were a bit edgy, a bit nervous, and then they had a couple of chances, but as soon as we settled down, we then sort of came into the game, got organised again, and kept them out, didn't we?
To be honest with you, I thought Portsmouth were quite predictable where they was playing. It was easy to defend against. Well, I had every confidence we would get a win because as I was the only one last week who portrayed that old forecast that Sheffield Wednesday would thrash us. There was a Derby fan, and I turned around and told him that we would beat Portsmouth and we would beat Derby, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, it's let's see. Let's fingers crossed on that. We have got Andy Shippo in on TikTok, who our Andy mentioned to me earlier, who's a Derby fan. So that will be good. Just saying evening to everybody that's on TikTok, and also everybody that's joined us tonight. Get your comments in as well, so we can read those out. Yeah, I mean, Andy, sort of a lot of tough emotions recently, which can get to you mentally if you're not careful. But, it just, what a lift. And that Saturday game, like Marcus was saying, that Saturday game is, massive, isn't it? For both teams, if one of us, ideally us, sorry, Andy, can get the win.
It is absolutely massive. I mean, I'll be really honest with you. I was on a live with Jamie earlier on, and I didn't expect I got to get anything from last night. I thought
Jamie the Portsmouth fan, yeah?
Yeah, Jamie the Pompey fan, a decent guy, as is Andy Shippo, who's coming down. But I didn't expect that at all. That took me off guard, and Gav got it right. The Oracle got it right with Obafemi. I've been slating Obafemi in every game, and big play to you, Gav, for sticking with him, because I was giving up on him as a player. But he proved it last night. He can do it, and I think the forward line we're going to have on Saturday is hopefully going to be the same as we did on Wednesday. Give Derby a few problems. So sorry, Andy S. That's what you're going to get from me, mate. You get a beer from me, but that's about it.
Well, I was looking quite orange there. I must have had my Trump light on. I've just turned it off. We'll come on to the players and the lineups. Carl, it got right towards the end. Then there was a sending off, then there was a goal, and then there was 11 minutes added on time. I mean, I have got no nails left. I have a nasty habit of that when I get nervous. Wow. And we held it out. Just phenomenal.
Like I said in our group chat, I had a horrible feeling it was going to be a 2-2 again in the final minutes. Like Hardy said in his press match
got that
chat,
clip
that
of
he
it.
thought that he was that, oh God, it's going to happen again, and he had to let some of the bench know about the history regarding the fixture, about these 2-2s and late equalisers and things. I thought when the 11 minutes went up, I thought, oh God, because they were right on top of us in the last kind of 15 minutes, and when the 11 went up, I thought, yeah, they're going to nick it. But when we held strong, defended like a heart, like everybody was defending with their bodies on the line, and Katic was immense. Hazard had a good game. Yeah, defensively, our structure was so much better last night, and having Obafemi on the left with a bit of power and the pace, having Hardy back changed the game as well, and yeah, so much better. And we're right back into it again now with the game on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. And, everybody might sound a little bit chilled and relaxed. The whole point of the live lounge is to just take a bit of a laid back approach to the football. And I've got kids in bed as well as Carl, so we're trying not to be too loud. And Gavin has just done a 2-day stint in London and only got back about 2 hours ago. So, yes. Steve, your thoughts as well. Just share your thoughts on that yesterday.
Having Hardy back was massive, absolutely massive. I was very surprised with Obafemi being selected, but then both and Bundu, they really work hard. They really work well together, and especially with Saranola and Pugas on at the wing backs and getting forward and their deliveries were immense.
Yeah, it's and at least you've remembered to take yourself off mute tonight before you speak.
At least I'm not coughing my guts up tonight.
Oh
yeah, you sound better, Steve.
That's the reason why.
Yeah,
you need a Block 9 podcast phone stand, don't you, Steve?
Yeah, brand it up just like the ice bum behind Andy. So look, we'll sort of come on. I'll bring up the screen share of the team lineup and the FOTMob stats, but I think the big difference, we spoke about it on Sunday. I tweeted about it a lot, saying that Hardy's key, and I think what was interesting actually in the pre-match presser is Miron sort of stating how important Hardy in the lineup is to the team's success, and he's clearly built that around him when he's joined. A lot of comments saying about Hardy looks a different person under Miron. Obviously he's scored a good number of goals now. Some people still skeptical because he didn't do much for previous 12 months or whatever, but it's like it just needed that connection and that thing to work for him with the right setup and injury free. Sadly, he did catch that injury, and that's obviously cost us. But I think Miron put a lot of pressure, Gav, on that comment about Hardy. Some people felt, but he was proven right, wasn't he, with the difference that made.
On the press conference, I thought we'd signed Cristiano Ronaldo the way he was going on. It was like, oh, he's our best player. He's the best player in the world. Without him, how can we even consider winning a game? And I just thought, oh dear, is he going down this route of being like, oh, the reason why we've lost is because we haven't got a Hardy? High pressure stakes all in, I think. But the front three, and I have to say it, have my little moment. You all laughed at me when I put that front three up on the Sunday night. You're not laughing now, are you? That's the second time I've been able to say that about one of my lineups, which is lovely. And actually, someone on Twitter said my lineup was perfect. That was nearly as good as they were.
Go on, gloat. Just take that in a bit more. Go on.
But all joking aside, the comments were there. But Hardy, you could never say he doesn't try. The guy's played through, stitches in his knee, stitches in his head. Everything, isn't he? He's been put his body on the line as much rugby players, to be fair, to play for the shirt and to be 80%, 90% fit, whatever he is at the minute. Although that knee slide, I think I was his chiropractor. I'll be rubbing my hands together with that knee slide for the celebration because he's going to need some adjustment today, I reckon. But he was brilliant, and I thought the front three were really, really good. They were strong. They held the ball up well. They were far better and far closer together than they have been for a long time. And we were, I thought, a very good team in the final third when we were there, which wasn't very often, but when we were there, we were pretty good.
No, good. Let me just pull up the FOT mob section where we tend to like to show this a little bit. So, yeah, just looking at, let's go to the lineups and see. I mean, it's one of those where obviously not forgetting, and Jamie, the Portsmouth fan, is in my TikTok. So evening, Jamie, Ben's in there. We've also got Michael Obafemi in there. You never know with all these accounts, and the Ben Wayne one that's in there. But evening to everybody that has joined us. But yeah, if we look at the lineup, obviously with Portsmouth facing Leeds on Sunday, so we had the extra day advantage in terms of rest. Obviously, they had a good game and a great result. They stopped Leeds, I think, was it 18 game run? So phenomenal, really. And we all were a bit nervous, definitely going into this at that point. And yeah, Andy, if I come to you again, I actually didn't feel too bad. My gut instinct felt good that day. I posted about the fact that I felt good with it. Obviously, proven to be right. I did put a 2-0 bet on. Bet responsibly if you do. I had 50p left in my account, and thanks to Soranola and them scoring, I lost my small winnings. But that's how confident I felt in the game. Going into it, but yeah, it's just looking at the lineup. Hardy there with a star man as expected. Hazard not with a great score, but he did pull off a couple of very important saves in that game. So standouts for you, Andy, in that match.
I was just going to say, you took the words out of my mouth. Hazard, he made 2 point-blank saves early on in the game in the first half, and Pompey could have walked away with it really, but he made 2 really good point-blank saves. Fantastic. And I know Pompey were woeful early on with like headers and misses and stuff like that, but I thought Hazard played a great game. I think his score should be a bit higher. I thought the back three, Katic, Maxi, and Pleggy, a good unit together. Pukash, the ball from Pukash, all the way through the team, they seemed to play as a team. And Gav, I'll say it again, Obafemi surprised me. He come in, did a job. Fair play to the guy. I hope he gets another chance on Saturday to prove what he can do. And I know he can do it because I've seen him do it before. And I think having the right players around him in Bundu and Hardy as well, the ball across, the ball from Pukash to Obafemi, and then the ball across the box is what Sheffield Wednesday did to us on Saturday. Putting that ball in that position where just had to tap it in. But yeah, great stuff.
That if they continue to play that way, that should be the front three for the rest of the season.
I hope so. Yeah. I hope so because they deserve it. I just hope we can keep Hardy fit because we get an unfit Hardy again out of the side for a long spell again. We're going to struggle. But with him and that front three as they are now, Bundu, Obafemi and Hardy, I think we've got a really potent attack.
Well, I think, Andy, what was interesting is the sort of Hardy alluded to, I believe, or someone did in the press conference. I haven't watched it all, even though it is all on YouTube now. If you don't know, if you don't have an Argyle TV subscription, we do have highlights. I'll come to the 2-minute highlights that Argyle TV have put out in a second. We'd like to show those where we can, but yeah, they talked about how that whole setup leading up to that goal had been worked on, and I think there's nothing better, as you know, whether it's a clever set piece or whatever, you're always so pleased that when that comes off, because it was Pukac, like you said, Andy, did really well to drive forward really hard and fast past that bending ball round to Obafemi, who then sort of crossed it in, and for Hardy, just a deft touch just to take the pace off the ball, put it into Bundu's path, and thankfully he put it away, which is not something we've always done with chances this season.
Yeah, Bundu though has never missed in front of goal. He always finds a target. Like even when we got battered away up at Norwich, when we lost 6-1, he took his goal really well. Every time he's in the box, he hits the target.
Yeah, he and that's where the lack of missing Hardy, isn't it? Is having that sort of outlet to sort of help you get forward and create those chances.
Yeah, because he didn't have a sniff when he was playing on his own. But there's 3 guys there now who can hold the ball up, got pace, got power. Hardy down the flanks, Obafemi, running in behind as he did with pace, and he'll muscle defenders out of the way. And Bundu, I thought, was really good in his link play again.
Yeah. I just sort of, Andy, on the side with Soranola, someone obviously who's done superb for us over recent games. To be fair, the type of the way we were setting up and holding it in the possession that obviously Portsmouth had, we did our typical of just sort of dominating that after that sort of 15 minutes and closing them down, holding them out. They didn't know what to do with the possession, as a fellow colleague at work said, who's a Portsmouth fan. But yeah, the red card as well, it was a bit of a shame, with that. Pits him out for a game. How did you see Soranola's performance? Not a great score there, but I didn't think he was
I
too
thought
bad.
he was. I thought again. I think he's better than what they've scored him. He created the goal for Hardy. The ball he played for Hardy was absolutely precise as well, and Hardy
really
just
good.
had to run onto it and leg it up
Yeah,
front.
yeah, but he's probably got it that low because he got sent off.
Yeah,
Probably what? Sorry.
He probably got it that low because he got sent off.
That's the only bloke in his game. It's a silly second booking, really.
Yeah, his
one
first
was.
one wasn't really a
His-
booking, was
The
it?
first one was the silly one.
Yeah,
It was the
second one
needless booking,
Yeah,
especially
exactly.
especially in that position of being a wing back.
Yeah, he's got to take the consequence for that now. So that's a match ban. And I understand he actually came back onto the pitch after the game had finished, which I don't think you're allowed to do. Someone might correct me on that.
It makes me wonder whether it's a straight red that then implies a second game. Because if he had a yellow, then a red, maybe that doesn't count. Because Argo TV put out all the celebrations of him in the frame as well. So incriminating themselves if they've
It was a
done that.
second yellow, Carl. But I think what people
But
are
if it's a
alluding
straight
to
red, it might be different.
is that he came back onto the pitch after the game had finished, and of course Rooney did that early on, didn't he? And he got a sideline ban.
But didn't Rooney have a straight red? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he did. Rooney had a straight red.
Yeah, so it might be different
Yeah.
if it was a yellow than a red.
I don't know what the rules
No,
are
well, look,
for like second yellows.
Someone may in the comments correct us on that. Let's just hope not, because obviously, he's a little gem, Soranola. Marcus, sort of coming to you then on the overall performance. I mean, the one sad thing, and if he happens to be watching tonight, Pleggy evening, but the injury getting taken out by Katic.
But who wants to run into him?
Say again.
Who wants to run into Katic, though, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Katic,
like a brick wall, isn't it?
barged into him, didn't he?
I mean, the other bloke that pushed Mumba into that advertising boards tried to square up to Katic, and the commentator said, "What do you think he's doing? He'll knock him out."
Yeah, just where you get
a brave boy doing that.
Cocky. But what's your thoughts? Anybody stand out for you? What standout points for you, Marcus, in that team yesterday?
I think they all did, but I do agree with Gavin that the midfield keep giving the ball away too cheaply.
I didn't have an issue with the midfield. Sort of, Gavin and I were talking about something else earlier, and he said he thought Houghton was invisible. I mean, I have to say, I was so edgy, even though I was confident. I did say to Gavin, reply that, when you're so focused on we've got to get this result, you're not really paying attention to the details in the game. But I mean, looking at the scores that Houghton and JB got there,
very generous.
It's so clearly, but so you didn't think, Marcus, either, that they had a great performance?
No, another thing is, even though we got away with it yesterday, we do give away too many cheap free kicks. You're adding to pressure, especially teams that are good at crossing the ball.
Well, free kicks or set pieces, we gave two away early in the first sort of 10 minutes, didn't we? One which had a flick on header and nearly went in the back of the net.
I mean, sometimes when the ball's up the other end, they give a needless free kick away, and they just pump it straight into the box. It's lucky we got two great headers on the ball.
Well, I think that's the other difference as well that Katic and Maxi have brought to the team, isn't it? Is that strength and height, in the defence at those set pieces where we've always sort of struggled, and that's clear that's had a big impact. Andy Shippo actually on TikTok has just said, "I'll bring my tissues on Saturday for you, Marcus."
No, I did actually tell Andy that we would beat Portsmouth and Derby, and so far I'm 50% right. And Andy, we're going to beat Derby, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, we'll see. Actually, I did show it just now, but evening, Graham. Graham just said I gave us no chance. Glad to be wrong, though. Yeah, he did on the Sunday show, and it's look, this is when you don't clearly mind getting things wrong. It's tough. It was hard to sort of see where we were going to come back from. Getting Hardy back in, we've touched upon it already. I felt it was going to make that difference. It did. But yeah, the midfield then, Marcus. We'll come on to a bit of team bits selection in a minute, but for Derby. But yeah, with Houghton and JB, do you think that partnership just doesn't work at all?
Well, he's a natural central defensive midfielder. Why don't we try Joe Edwards in there?
No.
Ooh,
No.
yeah, Gavin's started shaking his head. We'll come to that in a minute. Patience, Gav, you can give your view on Edwards. Carl's got a view on the slightly different lineups by one player between those two. I think Edwards it's clear that he wasn't used last night, in my opinion, for a reason. It did frustrate Carl. We did all wonder it because it could have given Sorinola a rest and avoided that sending off. But there must be something still there. So we'll come to that in a second. But I want to sort of, Steve, I'll come to you on this one. Obafemi, if he is watching on TikTok, then evening. But sorry for this comment. I didn't feel he was doing much still again. But then I think the sort of squad was waiting to get themselves settled, which they started to do, and then things started to open on the counter for us a little bit. And it was a great little pass and move that they played in there. But would you still be sticking with Obafemi?
I was sticking with all three of them on Saturday, definitely.
Yeah, fair enough then. Anything else in that game yesterday that stood out for you?
Well, it was like what Hardy said in the press conference, that Obafemi, Hardy, and Bundu, they were working on those passes in training, and they're going to be key to our attack.
You sort of, you do feel, where we lead on to it in a minute, that if they've been working on that, you've almost got to think that is likely what will happen, and it will be unchanged. In that lineup on Saturday. Going forward, I think absolutely. Carl, anything else for you to add? In terms of that last night and that lineup.
Yeah, like Gav said, or like you talked about it last night about Houghton being anonymous. I thought. And both of them in the first half, especially, they were quite quiet and giving the cheap balls away, not getting in Portsmouth faces. But they did improve second half. They looked a lot more solid. Still giving away cheap free kicks, but they looked like they were closing down a bit more and trying to string some passes together. But I think they don't complement each other that well. Houghton and JB, I think they're quite similar. I think JB did get better as the game progressed, especially the last 20. I thought he was a lot better. A lot stronger. He's got a great engine on him. I'll give him that. His fitness levels are decent. You can see from his heat map last night as well that Argyle put up earlier today that he was all over the pitch. So I can't knock him for that. But I think on Saturday, I think we need Boateng back alongside JB. I think that's our best midfield pairing at the moment until Randall's back. I think the front three have got to stay for the remaining games. I think, because I don't think TJ's going to be back. Obviously, Baidu's out of favour. Now Hadj isn't getting a look in. So, yeah, we've got to continue with the front three going forward.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I'm going to do is let's lift the calm mood that is the live lounge evening for all those that have joined us as well as we go through yesterday's match. I will play the highlights reel from Argyle TV. This is the clip that they put on YouTube, so I'm not infringing anything there before anybody asks. But let's have a bit of enjoy a few moments on this. So these are the early corners. One of them that came in. And that made me proper nervous. This, now, what a save and what a shot. So just going to pause it. This keeper who performed some heroics as well against Leeds, being outstanding for them. And I can't remember if it was Marcus or Steve said he was one of the goalkeepers that they wanted us to sign. But that ball over, and for Hardy to strike it as well as he did, which shows he's hitting the target again at least. What a save that was from the keeper at that point.
And I got to say, he was coming off his line quite high up as well, wasn't he? He wasn't afraid to come out and get the ball, which I liked.
No, you
He
can
wasn't rooted
see
to the line.
you can see here if I just play it and pause it. He's
Yeah.
nearly on his 18-yard line. You can see he thinks about coming out for it, realizes he's not going to get it, and then pegs it back. And luckily, he got himself his feet together because he that could have easily got him all confused and gone in the net. So that was a good start though for that first chance. Yeah, see. Another warning shot. So they were good for the first 10-15 minutes. And there's your man Pleggy getting that tackle in.
Great tackle.
Yeah.
Amazing block.
That's a save. That's the first one.
Turns away as Puhach.
Huge. Here it is. Here's the goal. So great run and drive from Pukac. Brilliant ball through. Great movement by Obafemi. Lovely flick. And how's that? Get in!
The perfect transition goal that was.
Yeah. When I was watching for my 2-hour marathon in the week, some of Cercle Bruges 2023, there were lots of patterns of play like that. I think I said it to the boys in the group. They had a really good 9, a really good 10, and a really good deep running aggressive 8. And there were loads of patterns in play when they were scoring goals of AILK. So clearly that's a signature of what Adin and Miron have been playing historically.
Yeah, again, there, Mike, where you paused at how high the keeper is, even outside his own box.
Yeah.
So well, Graham's comment as well just hit on the screen. I couldn't agree more. I thought, when I was watching this live, oh my God, how's Hardy got up there? And I just thought, is he going to have the strength and the power to get the shot off? But yeah, this wasn't easy because the defender's coming in for the tackle. And it's possible that the defender cutting across might have just confused the keeper's eye line a little bit, but what a finish.
It was almost identical to his goal 4 years ago.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, same goal, same
position.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I thought Portsmouth were quite wasteful last night.
And there was also that Bundu lob.
Yeah.
You thought they were what? Sorry, Andy, I'll just pause.
They were quite wasteful last night with their chances. They had several chances like that where they headed wide or shot over the bar, and it's like we got off lightly.
I think this is what we're seeing though with this setup for Miron, and exactly what he's said that it would do, or you expected it to do when we did a preview when we signed him, and that is by high pressing and nibbling at these players and not giving them time on the ball, where Portsmouth effectively do a similar thing at home usually anyway. So you're going at them with the same sort of style, but manage to slightly do it better after those first 10, 15 minutes. And it frustrates the opposition, so they're going to try and rush things. They're going to try and do things that they wouldn't normally do because they would normally have more time, and it's shutting the players out.
With Portsmouth, though, the manager said at the end, he said they're not used to having so much possession because they have 80%. Maybe that fooled them a bit.
Well, that's what my colleague in work I'd mentioned earlier said, that they just didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because they've never had that so much possession. There was no end product.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll just play the rest of this. We know what's obviously coming here. What a finish this strike is, though.
Hazard almost got to it. Almost.
But how it got through that crowd of players.
Have we what? Sorry?
Someone's echoing.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. Process of elimination. If I mute someone, let me try. Can we still? No, it's not. It's not Gavin. It's the guessing game. Well, Andy, you just came in. So let me try you. Nope. Oh, where's? Is it you, Marcus?
Yeah.
Lovely boy.
Oh, Marcus, we're getting an echo from you, Marcus.
Yeah, it's Marcus.
Gallet, that's what you get for Android.
Marcus, will you please leave the building and come back in?
Come back in.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Prove yourself.
Oh God, gotta love it. If it's not Steve talking for 10 minutes while on mute, it's Marcus now suddenly getting an echo. So yeah, so look, the whole possession thing. If I pull the stats back up, actually on the screen here, let's go to that. Yeah, I mean, I think that is the highest possession that an opposition team has had against us, Gavin, isn't it? I think on that one.
It'll be skewed by the last 15.
Well, there you go.
18
First
minutes
half,
when we had a red card.
Second half. There you go.
Pompey's got the best home record since November. It's second to Leeds.
Oh, right. Okay. Impressive.
Yeah, and the only other team to beat the only other team to beat Pompey on their ground who's had less possession is Millwall.
Okay, yeah. Well, there we go, Steve, with all the statistics or useful facts, I should say, not statistics. But just even into Dave Evans' massive win. We must win on Saturday. We will. And
he's getting some Muslicisms in there, isn't he? And we will do this also.
We will. Sorry, go on, Gavin. Just do your impression again.
Also, we will do this.
It's a sign of life, Mike. It's a sign of life.
Ken Selman of the Argyle USA camp. Have we heard if Soronola has to sit out for an extra game due to celebrating on the field after the red card? Also, any injury update on Pleggy? No, other than he was going for a scan today, suspected broken ribs. Just to actually, it's a good time to put the plug in. We've been speaking to Ken a lot on X recently. He forms the sort of Argyle USA side, lives in Detroit over there. And we are actually going to do, we'll probably announce it and sort it, on the channel later, but next Sunday when we don't have it, or sorry, the Sunday after in the international break where we don't have a game around 8 o'clock, we are going to connect up live with Ken and go through, and hopefully a couple of others or one other, and go through and do a little piece for our live lounge on what it's like to be a fan in the US. So that's going to be pretty cool. Like we said, we want to bring certain differences and points of difference with what we do. So there's a snippet there. So there's Ken with his comment. So if anybody does know,
also Nick potentially coming on at one point. Nick Giannotti,
So once we
Argyle director.
Yeah, once we confirm time slots, we haven't had that one confirmed as far as I'm aware.
Not yet. I need to give him some dates.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That sounds great then, Carl. So yeah. So look, we'll bring you some more of that. It's always good, to find out a few more things about different fan bases. What different people within the club. Like Carl just mentioned. So we just want to bring something a bit different where we can. But yeah. So going back to the sort of the possession side, we see this all the time under music with his tactics. That is what how it happens and how it tends to come out, and not everybody enjoys it and likes it. But I tell you what, if we can keep doing what we've done with Hardy in the squad, like yesterday, like against Millwall, etc., then can't be too unhappy with that, can we, boys?
No, take that. I'll take any win like that, if it's scrappy or not, whether it's possession against us. I'll take it. It's going to get 3 points.
All that matters now is wins, not how we perform.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah, it's exactly dogged fights to get in there. So
again, it's showing 0 corners. Is that right? We had a few corners, didn't we, last night?
Yeah, we both had corners.
Yeah.
Where is it? 7 corners. Did we?
I think that happened the other day on some of the stats. It said 0 corners, and we had quite a few corners.
Interesting. Well, there you go. These systems pay a lot of money for people with little controllers to start clicking away or the players on the pitch when they do stuff, and clearly that person was falling asleep there. Just hang on. Here we go. Burn the World, evening on X. From what I've just read, your player could potentially get another 3 game ban, depending on what the ref reported. I don't think you'll get another 3. It could be up to 3.
Is he talking about Randall there?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, right. Okay, that's a good shout.
You can't have a 3 game ban for coming onto the pitch, surely.
No,
I'm not coming. I reckon that's Randall.
That's got to be Randall, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it says potentially, so we'll burn the world if you can comment again and just let us know. But look, we'll soon find out, won't we? At the end of the day, on that one. So just picking up, because we've spent quite a bit of time on the Portsmouth game, and why not? Because obviously we're pleased for once to see a good result. But one of the other things that we do want to bring to you as well is obviously what we mentioned just now. And last week we did a piece on investment, which was Gavin that led that and did that presentation. That's Gavin's expertise in that field. And Gavin sort of read a few comments afterwards, and obviously with a lot of the negativity after the defeat to Wednesday, understandably, a lot of calling out. So Gavin went, do you know what? I want to put another presentation together with regards to, and we can't see him, so let me just get him on the screen because we've got too many.
Home Park looks a bit different.
Yeah,
we've filled in the corners now.
It looks like Centre Court, Wimbledon.
Shall I move us up? What's that? Yeah, so I don't know who off it is, or off or whatever that is. So this is care of the AI.
The other side of the pitch, it says FUCK.
Yeah.
There we go. Let me move it this way and see if I can thin us out a little bit more. There we go. There we go. That's better. So so Gavin's got a bit of a follow up, which is about Argyle, leadership structure and how that sort of works, so people can understand the role. So I shall shut up, Gavin, and hand over to you for your presentation on Argyle's leadership.
We'll skin through this for quite quickly, but I had some really interesting conversations post last week around. Simon Hallett's the puppeteer. He's got his hand over everything. La 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 la. And I interviewed him for a pod a couple of years ago, and I thought, maybe it's changed a lot, but I don't think it has. Having done a bit more research, so I just thought, actually, I've met David Ray. I've met Christian Kent a few times. I've met with Simon a couple of times. Never had a meeting with Andy Parkinson, but I see him regularly in Diamond. So I thought, is it worth just giving a quick whistle stop on, especially if we get investment, how does the business behave when it has investment? Okay, so are we going to piss the money up the wall? Let's hope not. Although some people that are jumping up down on the back of a certain head of recruitment again, which I find a little bit distasteful. But there we are. Each have their own opinion, and everyone's opinion will be respected. So they thought, is it worth just having a little oversight on what we do, how we do it, and how the business works? So, yeah, in my day-to-day life, I talk about a lot of this with business owners, especially around new investment, private equity, that type of stuff, because they have to change their behaviour quite dramatically. So, in the day where there's no fresh money, you do what you want. So, at the moment, Simon and the board do what they want. If they're going to take on a substantial investor, and I'm talking anywhere from 25% upwards, they'll then have some significant control, or there'll be a person of significant control, or a business of significant control with that stake, equity stake or more. Then the game changes. Then it's, how do the new owners, alongside the old owners, want to put together a structure for growth and a shareholder agreement and a way of working? So, and I thought, how does that operate then with the current management team? So if we look at, and this is said quite a lot by a lot of people, so it's nothing new, but the board and the investment group will normally tend to work what we call on the business, so on strategy, on strategic development, on investment, on the big decisions. And then the management team tend to work in the business day to day, executing that strategy. So that's pretty much what that slide says. So on a footballing sense, Miran Muslic with Adin and the coaching team will do the day-to-day in the business, training the team, picking the team, developing the team, making the decisions. On a non-footballing front, Andy Parkinson leads that, and I suppose officially Miran reports into Andy from a hierarchical perspective because he oversees the business. Jimmy Dickinson then obviously heads up recruitment, and then we've got a couple of officers in David Ray, who heads up finance, and Christian, who heads up the sort of venue and the operating element of it. So that's how that works. But the board will essentially say, this is where we want to be. Here's our, the big infamous 5-year plan that's talked about a lot. That will come up at board level. They'll then break that into bite-sized chunks, deliver it to the management team, and the management team's job then is to deliver that. And it might be a high-level thing that they have to find the detail to get to that end result, if that makes sense. So that's really what the sort of front slide says. You can flick over now if you want.
Yeah, I'll be your
So-
master clicker.
There's two elements here. There's a non-executive board, and by non-executive, all it means is they don't work in the business every day. Okay, so a non-exec board, the board meet, I think monthly at Argyle, but sometimes companies meet quarterly. I think it's monthly at Argyle, and they'll discuss the big decisions. So a board meeting is not a management meeting. A management meeting, they might discuss individual departments' performance, they might discuss individual people's performance, they might get down into the nitty-gritty of the whys and the wherefores. At board level, normally they're discussing the big decisions, and the board will be challenging the management team on the output that's come out of the playing squad. So league position, points per game, and the non-playing squad, the hospitality, the gate receipts, all that good stuff. So that's how that kind of works. The responsibility of delivering that is with the management team. The accountability of it is with the board. That's why most fans sit and sing "sack the board," because the management team have tried to deliver something that was probably unachievable, and the board are accountable on delivering that, if that makes sense. That then leads to a communication structure between the board and the management team, and then the management team should then speak to the customers, which are us, the fans. Okay, and then the internal customers, which are people within the business who don't get to sort at these levels. So the players, the admin staff, the grounds people, and all that type of stuff. So that's how that works, if that makes sense to everybody. Yeah. On you go.
Oh, hang on.
So accountability versus responsibility. I had a really interesting chat with someone on Twitter around. I think he said something along the lines of, "Oh, Simon is having daily teams with Andrew and pulling the strings," which I found surprising. But as the conversation went on, I was going to tease out what he was sort of meaning by that. He was like, "Yeah, but Simon's accountable, isn't he?" And I was like, yeah, that's the word that you need to really understand accountability. So yes, Simon, who owns the club and is the chairman, is accountable for all big decisions. Okay, along with the board, the non-exec board. Andrew Parkinson wears a management hat and a board hat, but he'll be quite a junior member of the board, even the CEO, because he hasn't got any skin in the game. He hasn't got any shares, right? Although I don't think he's got any shares. If he has, they're very, very minute. So that brings then accountability versus responsibility. So execution is done by the management team, as I've just said. Responsibility is from the management team to implement the plan and the strategy. The strategic framework is then normally a mixture of the two, between an idea or an aspiration from the ownership, the board, down to the management team, and then between them they have that 5-year plan, and they, as I said earlier, chomp it up into bite-sized pieces and then deliver it. But the accountability, so if Jimmy doesn't sign the right players, Simon's the one who gets shit on Twitter, right? So one's responsible, Jimmy, one's accountable, Simon or Andy, yeah, or the director of football,
yeah,
and that goes across the board. So it's that, having them listened to a couple of podcasts on the train over the last few days of Simon, he bears that responsibility greatly because he's a fan, and I think it keeps him up at night when he doesn't make right decisions, or he takes a kicking from some of the fan base on some of the accountability. So he wears that honour, that badge of accountability, I think, at the front of his chest daily. Probably even more so than Hard and Lovner, which is his day-to-day business, which gives him far less headaches, I would imagine, than this one. Because he hasn't got someone on Twitter going, "Oh, you invested in this and it's a shit show and you're a knob," and everything else that he's had in the past from some of our delightful fan base. So that's kind of a accountability for responsibility sort of matrix and structure. So that really shows how the business goes top down and then bottom up. Yeah. You can flip on. So the organisational chart and key roles. This I think is quite interesting because it will just show you who's responsible, I suppose, for what. So he's executive chairman, but he acts in a non-exec capacity because he doesn't get involved in the day-to-day. So he oversees all the club strategy. He's the majority shareholder and owner, and the buck kind of stops for him on that accountability framework. He will hire and fire certainly some of the key individuals, the CEO and the head coach. He'll be heavily involved in those two pieces of work, as we've already seen, and he will then create a board of directors around him with various skill sets. So Someone will have an HR role, someone will have a finance role, someone will have a fan engagement role. In the old days, we had someone involved in football, all that good stuff. So he'll have a rich tapestry of directors around him to challenge him, to challenge the exec, and to challenge the management team on their decision making.
Yeah.
Okay, on a day-to-day basis. So that's what the non-exec directors do. They'll all have their own portfolio, if you like, and they'll probably spend a bit of time with the head of those portfolios, and they'll dive a bit deeper, and they'll ask a series of probing questions, and they'll become what I call in business a critical friend. So the arm around the shoulder, but it'll be, you're not here for an easy ride, and I'm going to ask you on various points, why did you make that decision when we could have done this? Yeah. On a day-to-day perspective. CEO Andy sort of pulls it all together. Andy is he left Liverpool to come here as COO, which is Chief Operating Officer. So his operational know-how, whereabouts, expertise is first class. Where I don't think he's as strong is he isn't that charismatic leader of businesses. Like, for example, Richard Branson, when he was CEO of business, he's that face of the business. He's the culture, the cash, the whole sort of speak to the audience, speak to the fan base on a regular basis, and do regular chats. He writes really, really well in the programme. But of all the people that buy the programme, I don't know how many people read Andy's bit. I normally do in hospitality every week, but not everyone does. And he does pretty well, actually, when he's at the fan forums. But he's not a natural, I don't think, people leader. He's more of a strategic sort of behind the enemy line, or in the bunker behind enemy lines, sort of pulling the strings and operating a club which actually has gone 6x of its revenue since he's been in post. So he's done a great job on that.
I think, Gavin, just on that point, actually, in terms of the type of character and persona that you need sometimes as a CEO in that actual fans forum, actually, he did come across a little bit defensive, didn't he? He did. And I mean, Carl and Andy were there, Marcus, I think, but watching it live, we touched upon it briefly afterwards, but it's after that event. We didn't do a big piece on the forum, actually, over our shows, in fairness, but he sort of elongated answers and then got a little bit defensive, certainly when it was...
He doesn't give straight answers for me. He kind of beats around the bush quite a lot.
It's what Chris Dawson would call a politician. Just give me a yes or no. Stop beating around the bush.
He's a very good corporate speaker, so he will give a very corporate answer. He's not blunt. He's not direct at all. He's a good small p politician. You're right. And I don't think if you did a SWOT analysis of Andy Parkinson, his weaknesses would probably be people management. I think he'd probably tell you that. Where his strengths would be operational delivery, financial structuring, strategy implementation, and all that good stuff. So you're never going to have someone who's perfect. Certainly on the wages we pay. If he was brilliant, he'd be up being touted by Man City and being sacked for £4 million compensation a few months later, like the guy from Newcastle was. But we are what we are. But I think he's done a pretty good job. He probably needs someone around him who's got a bit more of sort of a Miran Muslic people skills and communication skills sort of piece day to day, I think, to complete the package. But I don't think we can afford a COO anyway, so that kind of knocks that at the door. But that's what Andrew does. He sort of pulls it all together. Obviously, Miran, everyone knows what Miran does. He's the head coach. He's there to get us in the state, keep in the league and win as many games as you can. Jimmy D, who we've talked to many about on this time, obviously, is player recruitment. He'll scout, he'll do the data with his team, and he'll put players towards the management team and therefore the board in terms of whether they fit our style or not. And I think even he will say he's had varying degrees of success over the last 24, 36 months, had some absolute gems. We had some that the jury's out, and we've had one or two that we would rather probably forget.
But you're always going to get that with our budget, though, aren't you?
Yeah, of course you
Some will work, some won't.
Don't mention Wayne.
It's life.
I read something the other day, like we always buy on what could be. Yeah, we never buy on established. It's always potential. We're buying someone's potential, but with our level, with our budget,
correct.
What else can we do? You either buy journeymen that are on the way down the other side. No disrespect, Andre Gray, the hips of an 18-year-old Alsatian, but all the skill in the world. Or you're buying someone young, new, Ballymumba, that guy who forgot to turn up to work, I've forgotten his name, and others who are untried, untested, that need development. Yeah, our model is that we're buying potential. We're hoping that Miron, Adin, the team can polish those rough diamonds and sell them for a big chunk of change in the future. And we went through that on the investment model last time. We're building this nursery, aren't we, at Folkestone Park, opposite my house, to try and get that diamond mine, that nursery of plants, whatever you want to call it. So that's obviously that. We've got a director of football, or a sporting director, I think is what it's going to be called, to be a bit more European, which is vacant. And that kind of bridges between, and I think this is really missing at the moment, that bridges between what Miron's doing and what the board want. And it'll probably be a bit like, we're all old enough to remember this, 888 subtitles. What the fuck do the board mean when they say this? Oh, right, it's that. Oh, the players mean. So it'll be that bridge between the Jimmy, the Adin, the Miron heading it up, what they want to achieve on the pitch, and translating that into a commercial sense in the boardroom that a board can buy into or not, and vice versa. When a board says we want this, he can break it down into football language and make them understand it. So I think that's a really important role at the minute, and it's the jam in the sandwich that we don't have.
I think, and I think on that, Gavin, it's we did mention it briefly last week, but there's no major rush right now in terms of when if you're looking to reappoint for this role, you want to make sure it's right. We don't want to rush. We don't want to panic. We know we're in a dogfight, but there's not much. You can't bring in any more players. You're not going to get lucky. And if someone's on a free, they clearly are not good enough, as though someone will have them. So spend the time, think about it, plan it out, speak to your team, speak to Miron, work out the right person that's going to fit, because we know at Stoke that said person that does that role up there has been an absolute nightmare everywhere he's gone. So we can't change anything now, can we?
Yeah, I think now, like we're getting towards the end of term, aren't we? The disco and the crisp and the biscuits are nearly out on the desk. Yeah. So I'm mufti daying it all day, every day. We're getting towards the end of term. There is very, very little point now in rushing that appointment. What you need to do now is dust ourselves down come whatever the last day of the season is, then have a series of strategic away days to say what is now we know where we are, League One or the Champ. What is our strategic objectives over the next 3 years? We've just done 1 year through this 5-year plan. Have we hit our straps or haven't we? The director of football is going to be key in those strategic away day sessions, in my opinion. They're the ones that are going to be setting the tone of, okay, well, if you want to do that, we've got to spend more money on this. Or, what is the balance when we talked last week around short-term investment, long-term investment? Those that are watching now that didn't see last week, probably go back and watch it and then you'll understand what we mean. The balance between, investing in the playing squad, investing in infrastructure that can produce recurring revenue, recurring cash to invest in that playing squad year on year on year. That's where the director of football, I think, will add will earn his salary essentially to help the board decide where that money's spent and what the balance is day to day at the moment between short-term and long-term investment. Yeah. So that's their job in a nutshell. The way I see it, I'm no football expert, but as a business sort of advisor, that's the way I'd look at it. And then you've got two guys who have got head of in their roles. They're not directors, and I don't think they're on Companies House as statutory directors anyway. You've got David Ray, who's head of finance, who will put together all the financial reporting, all the management information for each board meeting, will write the budget each year with each stakeholder, and will manage the cash on a day-to-day basis with the team. And then you've got head of venue, which is Christian, who again has also been in the club some time, who will oversee everything from contractors, upkeep of the retail stock, the grounds people, overseeing the hospitality, overseeing the retail, overseeing the events in the summer, and anything that's sort of related to the venue that isn't football related, essentially. So that's kind of the makeup of the management team. What's that? Sorry?
Free
ice buns.
And free ice. He's probably integral in the ice bun game.
Integral.
Free ice buns for the under fives.
In fact, I think if I see Christian on Saturday, I'm going to ask him. I'm going to say, on the pod, Christian, we want to know who was responsible for ice bun game.
They got biscuits elsewhere, though.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, exactly. All these weak woke sides that hand out free gifts get hammered at home. That's the way it works. interesting slide this, I thought, for just people that don't sit on boards really. And I take it around because everyone does, but they obviously don't. And there's probably a good degree of board directors at Argo on a Saturday, but there's also a lot of people that don't sit on board. So I thought it'd be quite interesting to see how that works. So when these strategic away days happen, what tends to happen is there'll be a series of targets that will be agreed by the board. Okay, it'll be the league table, ideal league table position, the amount of points we want to acquire in the season from a football side, how many youth players we're going to bring through the academy, whether they're going to get first team minutes, all that good stuff. Revenue targets, so how much we're going to take on the gate, retail, hospitality, match day food, blah blah blah. What our gross profits are going to be based on the retail and F&B, and that whether we're going to set ourselves a target for net player transfer expenditure for the year. So this year we've done pretty well. We've sold Michael Cooper, we've sold Lewis Gibson,
Whittaker, Gibson,
and a few others, and we've probably got a net surplus at the minute, right? So that would have been something that at the beginning of the year would have been talked about as a target. So that's a target, and then you go, well, how do you measure those targets on a weekly and monthly basis where you put key performance indicators in play? So on a footballing side, it might be points per game average. And we've heard Neil Dusnip talk about that figure a lot in the past as his role as director of football. So he has a points per game average, which I'm sure at board, he will be delivering a presentation to the rest of the board that says our points per game average is 1.2. We're at 0.8 this month. We're behind target. Here are the reasons why, mitigating factors, injury, blah, 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 blah. The board will discuss it. Do you need any more support? They'll probably challenge on certain circumstances if there's a football person on the board, and then they'll, either accept the decision or accept the explanation from the management team, or they won't, but it'll be there. Same with all the other departments. So, Christian might get asked to write a report on what's the average spend per head when people walk through the ground. So it's not very much. I think it's about £2 from the last conversations I had with everyone in the ground. So what if we brought that up by 50p? What would that do to revenue? What would that do to gross profit? So if that was the case, the board might say, as a target, we want to get another 50p per person through the door next season. It's the management team's opportunity then to go away and think about how that's going to be delivered and how it's going to be measured from a KPI perspective. Sponsor retention rates might be the same. Something as real as basic as health and safety incidents. How many health and safety incidents were reported in the month? Were any Riddle reportable? There will be a Riddle reportable one last night because Plaguezela went to hospital.
Yeah.
That's a Riddle reportable offence. People forget that. It might be football, but you've had an employee get injured at work and go to hospital. That's a Riddle reportable offence. Right? So there'll be people in the ground and that'll be measured and that'll be talked about. Net zero, I know Christian's done a lot on that in terms of harvesting rainwater and putting loads more solar panels around the place and blah, 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 blah. So yeah, that's kind of how it works. All those elements then are put into what's called a board pack. So David Ray will put a finance report together saying this month's budget was X, we delivered Y on sales, GP and net profit or net loss. Christian might have a health and safety report there, which normally in the businesses I run feature number 1 on the agenda because everyone needs to stay out of prison who's a director normally. Yep. So that kind of focuses minds. And then you'll have all the other bits that go with it. And that board pack is given normally a week in advance to all the directors. The directors will then read that report and they'll come to the meeting with any questions on each report. So they're not delivered verbatim normally in the meeting, but they'll be delivered in advance. And then they'll say, page 6 of your report, you said, I don't know, we've got an extra 20p per spend on thinking, how have you done that? Oh, we put an offer on to come in early bird, pre-game, and we've done this and this. How did it work? Right, can you do more of that? That's the kind of conversations that will go on. Yeah. Which keeps the management team on their toes, make sure that the board are informed about what's going on and when it's going on and how it's working. And it will formulate then how the business behaves on a day-to-day basis, which I think is where Andy Parkinson earns most of his bread, by delivering those numbers and making sure that the people behave to hit the KPIs, and also make sure that the board I've got a fair understanding of how those KPIs are focusing the behaviour on what our output is, essentially our league position, our P&L, that type of stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, good.
I mean,
That's that.
yeah. Oh
this
wow,
was
that's a lot of text.
Yeah, I know it is, but I won't go through it. But essentially, what I thought was, what does it cost to sack a manager in the Championship?
Yeah.
The answer is between 1 and 3 million quid, and potentially up to 0.23 of a point per game. So if you, I basically did a bit of desktop research and reached out to a few people I know who've managed football clubs in the past, and they've said there's not many manager banks, but then if you keep the revolving door going, teams like Stoke, teams like Watford, you end up in a series of what we've got at the minute, which is a patchwork quote of a squad who have been asked to play in 4 or 5 different ways over the last 2 or 3 years, and the net result is with hiring a new person. Yeah, so compensation to other clubs, recruitment fees, which of course many people use recruiters, and all the affiliated costs with that and the wider coaching team. That costs about between £1 and £3 million per change in average in the Championship. That's a scary stat, isn't it? So if you think, we're all sitting there banging our fists as supporters going, oh, Jesus Christ, we need more money to be spent on player wages and on targets for transfers and all that good jazz. If we're changing a manager every 6 months, we could be taking nearly £6 million a year away from that target by paying for their salary. I mean, I think, isn't Ian Foster, I think he's being paid, isn't he, to the end of March?
Yeah, correct.
Right? So every month we've been paying his salary in full.
And we're actually, Gavin, on that note as well, we got Rooney decided to sort of walk away from his requirement of being paid as well, didn't he? So it's all this is where I think this is an interesting piece, because it's not just as simple, and this is why I go back to people saying, well, if it was your money, you wouldn't just do this. It's difficult. That's why when you make a challenge, and Simon might be more hesitant, and you want to change it tomorrow, it's like, there's a lot of factors to consider here, and you'll get to the point at which, like it did with Rooney, like it did with Foster, where, do you know what, we've got to change something, because yes, it is going to adversely affect other areas now.
Yeah, look, for me, listening to Simon, we're not a sacking club, are we? No. However, the facts are the facts. We've had 4 managers in 2 years.
Yeah.
Right, they're the facts. And we've had, luckily we've got someone like Nance knocking around who can slip the old company pair of slippers on and lead the boys into charge for a small period of time. And everyone would literally sort of, worship the ground he walks in. That's brilliant. And he's been the constant. But, surely you want to be giving your managers at least 18 months, 2 years, don't you, to embed themselves? 3 transfer windows?
Yeah, and you think as well, Gavin, that the Foster change and the Miron change all came, obviously, in those January spells. So a difficult time. Rooney had obviously a full pre-season and all that sort of stuff. So it doesn't make the situation easier, which is what I commented on someone the other day. It's just like the guy's coming at a tough time. Give him a break, because he's actually done incredibly well, and he is still handling the situation that's been given to him.
I think that the problem is the whole world now is got to be instant gratification. You can look at a video on TikTok now, and if it doesn't appeal to you in a second and a half, you're flicking onto the next one. I've seen my kids do it every day on their iPads. It is instant. I want it now. I want it now. I want it now. The world has changed so quickly. You lose 4 or 5 games on the bounce, people are calling people's heads. It's absolutely.
It actually makes you wonder, how long Stoke will hold on to Mark Robbins. Because they've lost a few games, haven't they? So
I think they've had now, I don't know how many managers in how many years, but I think they've been averaging about every 6 months a change of management. And they don't do things on the cheap, as we know, Andy. They like to fly people down on helicopters, take them away, and then pay £1 million compensation per club, right? Which is great, but that's £2 million a year they're paying if they're doing that basis, right? Plus recruitment costs. Plus, manager dips, plus. It's cost them an absolute fortune. And if they didn't win last night, the fans would be saying, well, we could go down here because of, not necessarily because of anything Mark Robbins has done, but he's got a patchwork of a squad even more than us.
Yeah.
No one knows what this playing style are and where it is and how it's doing, and it is a real challenge. So,
what would you say is the average contract length then to a championship manager? We had this discussion during the week, didn't we, about contract lengths?
I'd probably say it's 3 years.
Yeah, great.
Right, and it'll be 3 years for a reason. If you're sitting pretty in Club A, and you're just outside the playoffs, just inside the playoffs, and another club says, "Oh, do you want to come and see some puppies in my helicopter?" Right, and you go, "Oh, okay," and you naively, leave a certain football ground, drive, get in a nice waka, and piss off up north and get shown all these riches.
Sorry, Gavin, getting a nice. What was that? Sorry, a what?
Waka waka.
A waka.
A waka. It's what my kids call a helicopter. Right, and you go up north, and you've got all these beautiful training grounds and everything else to work with. If you're leaving a steady job where you're adhered by fans and your kids are at school, and you're not going to do it for a 12-month contract, are you?
No, absolutely.
You're not even going to do it for a 2-year contract. You're going to say, "Poke it up your backside. I need some job stability, mate." So that's the problem. Is I think it was you, Mike, in the week said every manager's contract should be a year rolling. Well, that's great.
Well, that was me. That was me. That was my question. Well, not necessarily a year rolling, but kind of a 2-year, 2.5 year, because the sacking rate of championship managers is quite high, isn't it?
But would you? Well, so flip it on the other way.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but on the other side.
No, but let's just examine this for a minute. Flick it the other way. Miran Muslic, right, keeps us up this year, and we're 8th in the champ next year. Finish, and we're like, 1 more year, Miran, and we could go up. And he goes, "Thanks, guys, it's been lovely to meet you, but I've done me 2.5 years. I'm off ski. I'm off to Hull." We'll be like, "Why didn't we sign him for 3.5 years?"
Yeah.
Right,
yeah, and then just even actually giving it a bit of context as well from a typical business. Like, so a footballer, you're looking for someone that has got the skill to help you drive your business forward. So that's no different, say, in a normal business. If I take a retail business like I work for, and we then look for someone to come in and that can lead an area and drive it forward. Typically, if you're coming into a chief role or certainly a senior management role, director role, you're going to be given at least a 6-month notice period, because the business doesn't want you going at the drop of the hat. But generally, as a person with a sort of a skill set, you want to also do the same as a football manager or a player and give yourself some stability. Yes, you get relocation and all this sort of stuff, but you also want it to really work out. Yeah. And that's why then people get put on gardening leave if for the rest of the term if you don't want them in the business, and they sit around doing nothing anti-compete for 6 months.
It's a big risk, because even if you're a player and you've been offered, for instance, Freddie Asako has been given a 7-year contract or something like that. So if he doesn't play for the club and all of a sudden he's not getting recognised, he's going to be staying at club stagnant for 7 years under contract.
Well, you look at the Chelsea situation where you've got a squad of 20-odd players that are training on their own. Have all signed 3 or 4 5-year deals because they want to amortise their assets over a long period. And unless their agent slams on the door and says, "Rip the contract up, please," or "We want to be sold," they're training with someone else, or they're training on them by themselves as their own little mini club that doesn't play anybody for 3 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think there's on Xhaka, and I'm conscious of not stretching this out because we've done well. Gavin's done well, and we've got to do the preview to Derby. But if you look at the Xhaka contract, and I know a couple of you in the chat in the group sort of question, why isn't he then using these youth? And then obviously he says that the youth are important. You don't go giving a long-term contract to a youth player like that unless you absolutely plan to utilise that asset. So that
did he sign a 7-year? Did I miss that?
I didn't think it was 7. I thought it was 4.
No, I wouldn't have.
It was ridiculous.
It's a 4-year contract.
It was a ridiculous length, wasn't it? But he was signed by Rooney. He was given the contract by Rooney. Now, got a different manager in there now who might not think he's going to be part of his plans. So the player's stuck in limbo, isn't he?
But don't forget, though, the whole with Folkestone Park and that, the whole ethos of the business and the strategy is to develop the youth, and he's still sort of part of that. So he does fall into that, sort of strategy that they're working on.
No, it does. But I thought that was just as a closing slide. It's a really interesting. This is what happens when you change your manager, and there's how much it costs. You can flip that. That's his exec summary. So that's where I think when fans call people's heads, I get it, but not when it's this early, not when they've just signed a 3.5-year deal, and not when it's going to cost us A, points up to 0.23 of a point a game, and B, up to 1 to 3 million quid to get rid and then replace again, and all the upheaval that goes with it. So sometimes you just got to view the game. I think I said this on the tweet last week, more than the 1 to 10 game period. You've got to view it over 6, 12, 18 months. I know it's hard because everyone wants to win now, but the world's not perfect, is it? And we're Argyle fans.
No, absolutely. So, yeah, look, on that note, Gavin, thank you again for that after getting back late from 2 days in London and, sort of taking everybody through that. Everybody that's stuck with us on that bit, this is late at night, there's quite a few of us on here that have probably had busy weeks at work. I know I'm one of them as well, so to actually sit there and listen to that, and hopefully it gives you a great bit of insight. It is very easy to be very ignorant at times. Gavin gets to work with some great businesses. I work for one and at a high level as well, and it's a great insight and understanding how big companies can work. And like Chris, himself, the buck stops with Mr. Dawson, but he's not there every day of the week getting involved. So we've got to look after his baby, as he calls it, and absolutely it is, and he trusts us to do that. But Gavin, if anybody has a business and wants some advice, then GJC Advisory, that is Gavin, get in touch. This is not a paid for sponsorship, but I'm definitely going to give that out.
We'll pay you later on, Mike.
Yeah, that's it. The prawn sandwiches, as you say, Andy.
For those that have found that dry and dull, apologies. Sometimes I have to listen to myself talk too. So
the audience has grown, and thank you everybody that stayed with us. Graham did pick this up a little bit earlier. He has just done the Argyle Life podcast as well earlier, so bless him, he's probably absolutely shattered as well. Graham, if you're still in here, let us know, unless you did go to bed.
I'm expecting to see a toffee Chris to come out the lampshade in a minute. For those, none of you get that, do you?
No, I'm sat here perplexed.
It's a reference to a séance. Did you not see the Toffee Crisp advert where "Are you there, Sydney? Are you there?" and the Toffee Crisp wrapper comes out of the lampshade?
I'm pretty good with old confectionery adverts, but that slips me.
On the Pod 9 podcast, I'm putting that advert up later because I don't want to look a schmo. I'll put the link. Anyway, there we go.
Yep. So on to the what do you call it? The team selection for Derby. Sorry, Carl threw me with a comment. I could be wrong. It might be a different Graham in the chat.
It's Graham Clark, isn't it?
Don't know.
It's Graham Clark.
Graham Byrne.
No, it's Graham Byrne. Because he when he first came in, he put a note on about Argyle Life being up next. So, that was the other week. So I think I've got it right. If he's not asleep and he's still awake, he will confirm that in the chat, hopefully. So Gavin's
probably put him to sleep, Mike.
Gavin's quite proud of his team selections at the moment. So we start off with Gavin again. So so go on, take us through this.
That's hell of a side there, isn't it? So for those listening, not watching, Hazard in goal, obviously. Back three with no Pleggy. Pleggy, please get well soon. Mike's going to be crying himself to sleep every night until you're back on the pitch. That's a
come on, boy.
Such, Katic and Talavirov and Maxi as a back three. I was tossing the coin between Such and Poulsen. The only reason why Poulsen don't get in, and I'm a big Poulsen fan, is because of Such's ability to throw the ball 60 yards. Right? Move on. And I thought he did only come on the other night. Midfield, 2 central of JB and Boateng. I think JB had a really good game yesterday. Boateng gives us a bit more leverage. He's a bit more leggy. I think he'll use the ball a bit better when he gets it and when he wins it back. And I think he wins the ball back more than Houghton. And Houghton's probably won't play 2 games in a week now because of his engine and age. Okay, so I think once we have a fully available team, I would say probably Randall and Boateng are our best midfield. But I think for Saturday, 2 big guys, both full of energy, going out the middle of that Derby midfield at pace. Pusac on the left, I think he's back to his best. I thought he played really well on last night, and he doesn't look that knackered anymore. So he's obviously been taking his Barocca in the morning. Other fizzy,
but on a really good day.
other fizzy vitamin drinks are available. And on the right hand side, I've gone for Mumba. Obviously with Serinola mindlessly getting himself sent off, and hopefully that's just 1 game and not 3, as per the comments earlier from Burn the World. Please send the link in. I don't know if he's done it yet. So I've got Mumba on the right. I thought when he went to wing back last night, he was really good. I think he'll know now a bit more discipline, and he will get forward when we can go forward, which I think is useful to have that sort of front five and JB and Boateng hanging back. And then I've gone for what can only be labelled now as the block 9 front three.
Love that.
Because
I love
we and I in particular, because I put it up, were ridiculed at a certain Michael Obafemi starting up front on the left. He's got a lot to prove. He's out of contract, I think, at the end of this season.
Well,
And
you
I
did
imagine
have
he wants to-
Obafemi up front in the middle originally, didn't you?
Well, I did. You're right. And then that's why I said
Now,
block 9 front three, Carl, and not my front three, because I, in the words of a certain famous comedian, I had all the right notes in all the wrong order.
I love using that phrase.
Obafemi on the left, Hardy on the right, Bundu up top. I think that should be the side for the rest of the season. Power, pace. They all know what the goal is, and they all can cause trouble in with their own guises. And Michael, if it is you listening, please get your head down, arse up, eat well, train well, and show us how you can score at least 6 or 7 goals between now and the end of the season. That'd be lovely. Thank you very much.
Yeah, excellent. So, Carl had a slight difference with this one. So, go on, note your change, Carl, because I think it is only one change.
It was just Edwards for Mumba for me, and the rest is bang on. Yeah.
So I think sort of Edwards, we still don't sort of know how great his sort of fitness and situation is, because obviously he didn't come on yesterday. That would have been helpful for Sorinola, and would have avoided the red. But that is, in hindsight, is a great and wonderful thing. I think we will see him tomorrow, but I don't disagree with Gavin. Sort of when he was saying earlier in the group that I wouldn't start with him. So I think that is going to be a good probably setup. Whether or not Soups will stay there, come in as well. Those throw-ins, they are pretty impressive. Those throw-ins, aren't they?
I'm really surprised we haven't used them earlier on in the season. He must have always had it in his locker. We just never used it.
Well, to be fair, Carl, we've never really had anybody tall enough to win them in the box.
Well, that's true. That's also true.
Yeah, so, you've got half the jockeys of the Cheltenham Festival in the box jumping up and down trying to win it against 7-foot centre halves. It's not quite what you want, is it? Let's be honest.
Oh, and just thinking, just Ben Collins has picked. I forget JB is so young, and that's it's always 21. Too easy to miss that. But he's also been called up to as well, isn't he?
Yeah,
for the under-20 elite squad.
Yeah, and also Isaac has been called up for the Wales under whatever that is.
19s.
Yeah. So just to point out,
Pulse has been called up too to the Icelandic squad again.
Yeah. So So look, just fair play to it. I just wanted to shout that out to all of those that are in their international duties. We obviously mentioned Maxi and Katic previously. So well done to all of those. That's good. Obviously,
and Connor Hazard for Northern Ireland as well.
Yeah, will he get a start?
I hope so.
He's in great form. I hope so.
Yeah, deserves it, doesn't he? So, any sort of comments on that lineup, Andy?
I'm inclined to sort of lean towards the Mumba selection, because we all know that Mumba's got a mistake in him, isn't he? Joe Edwards, would you bring Joe Edwards in for the first half an hour or so? I think I would. I think I probably would.
Oh, the tide's turning.
If he's been on grass for the last sort of training on grass for the last few weeks, then he's got to be getting sort of somewhere near match fitness. I know that Muslic has gone down and said 20 to 30 minutes, but I think he's got 30 minutes.
You wouldn't give him just 30 minutes, then take him off, would you?
Well, you got to give him some minutes
I'll give him 60.
The minimum you've got to do is half time.
Oh, sorry, I two strangers to that.
So Steve, go on. So Steve, would you change anything in that lineup then?
I'll put Paulson as centre half. I'll put Suits as right wing back, and I still had Houghton next to Boateng.
Okay, yeah, interesting.
I did need 60 minutes, by the way. Just fraudulent split.
Yeah. On his last press conference, he said that Muslic said he would get between I think it's 15. No, I think it's up to 25 minutes.
25 to 30 minutes. Yeah,
it's not long enough.
That's why I think.
Well, look at what happened with Tijani, because obviously he was coming on for 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. about 3 or 4 times. Then he went up to 25 minutes, didn't he?
Yeah, but he's got legs like cheese strings, hasn't he?
I was going to say, yeah, he's like got margarine
Legs
thighs.
like cheese strings.
Did anyone hear that comment the other night about Callum Wright having legs like spaghetti? That was funny.
Spindle legs.
Oh my days, God! I think I need to rescue our audience from you, from us all tonight. Go on, Gav.
Joking aside, Mumba or Such on that right, I don't think Edwards is ready to start. If Eddie was ready to start, he'd be straight in my opinion. But that's a pretty good side, boys, isn't it? You'd be happy
It is
taking,
a good side. It is a good side.
taking Derby on that.
Mumba's got mistaken.
I think we all agree on 99% of that side. It's just kind of the right side, isn't it?
I'd have Grimshaw and goal though.
Yeah.
Well,
wash your mouth out.
To wrap up. So,
what's your team, Mike?
See, this is where I'm rubbish at selections. Really, I can't. I'm sort of in between and torn on JB and Boateng. Looking at the FOTMob score, Houghton and stuff. But like I said, I didn't really study the game because I was just almost just wanting and willing us to try and get that result. So I can't really disagree with it too much. I mean, the great thing is we've got options again now that we can bring in, which we've for a while struggled with. So I just hope and pray Hardy can stay, really fit. I did notice he had one of those sort of electric pulsing things around his waist at the end.
I'm so glad you said waist.
His strap on.
His strap on. Thank you, Gavin. Yeah, tickling his back to keep it happy. But he did. Well, this is the Late Night Love Show from the Blood Nine Podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And tonight we're talking about one of our strikers' strap on.
Yeah. So
you lot.
But he did drop to his knees in his typical salute, and I did wince a little bit when I watched that in the replay, thinking, God, I hope that didn't do his jar his back, and it obviously didn't. So score predictions, go top down. Andy, what are you going with?
I'm going to go, sorry, Andy Shippo, 2-0 to Argyle.
Yeah, I don't think Andy's still in watching. I think he's fallen asleep as well.
Listen later on.
Steve, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking 2-0 to Argyle, but one thing that I do, it's going to be like Argyle Millwall again. I think because John Eustace, it's side sit back like what we do as well. It's very similar styles.
Okay, interesting. Carl,
do you want to do it yourself?
No, I'm asking you. I do mine myself. I am the host. Just do as you're told.
2-1 Argyle.
2-1, yeah. And Gavin?
I'm going to keep consistent with Eustace's last trip to home park this season and say 3-1 to Argyle.
Ooh. So what am I going to go with? Yeah, I think I went 1-0 actually against Portsmouth, even though I put that on for 2-0. But Derby getting a win as well, as we know, Luton. So that was massive in that bottom fight. I'm gonna say I'm gonna go 3-1. Actually, no, I'm gonna go 3-0. I'm gonna go 3-0.
Just bear in mind, chaps, before you all go, right, and I have witnesses to this, right? In one of my WhatsApp chats, I did predict a 2-1 win last night for Argyle.
There you go. Here's your Chuffy badge, Andy. There you go. You can stick it on that ice bomb behind you.
I want my Block 9 Chuffy badge. Thank you very much.
We'll have to, if we ever get properly organised, we'll have to do a score prediction table, and then we can see who gets.
For next season, we'll have to do that hands down.
The Block 9 fantasy football. I'm rubbish at that sort of stuff.
Steve,
but anyway,
Stato, you're gonna have to be the elder of the pen.
Where's Marcus gone? Has he gone?
Yeah, I think his phone fell asleep when Gavin was presenting.
Seconds.
As soon as I said I used the words KPIs, Marcus just drifted off to Noddy Land. He was gone.
Yeah,
he's up the pole again.
So look,
lovely boy.
Thank you everybody that's joined us tonight and stuck with us, which a lot of you have, which is really appreciated. And thank you, Gavin, for doing another piece on the management and running of
Andy next week. So I can, say
so I'm just going to come to that. Yeah, so will you just let me finish these things, Jesus? So yes, so thank you, Gavin. And like I said, if you need any business advisory, get in touch. He is an absolute pain in the No, he's great. So next Thursday, obviously we got the international break, so we'll be on Sunday, obviously after the Derby game, to review that and touch wood. And then next Thursday, Andy, who is a counsellor, is going to give a presentation on the psychological effects, on players, and we'll probably lead that with fans as well, because we've all gone through such an up and down journey over these last 2 seasons. Say again, Andy?
It's a roller coaster.
Yeah, exactly. So, so it's another exciting, thrilling one for you next Thursday, to come and watch. Like we said, this is a bit of a more relaxed show and a relaxed approach. But, so thank you, everybody, for joining us. I do have something else to look forward to this weekend. And I know there's not many people that are, but I'm a massive Formula One fan.
Me too.
Nice one, Steve. So I'm a massive Williams F1 fan, and I'm really positive for the season. So it gives me another welcome distraction. But I hope that not only do Williams do well at this first race, but Argyle give us the 3 points, so it ends the weekend on a massive high. But yeah, other than that, everybody, thanks for joining us. You can follow us on YouTube, X, etc. So just search for the @Block9 podcast. So those that are watching on YouTube, thank you for joining in X and also within the TikToks. It's great to have you. And look, enjoy the rest of your evening because it is late. Thank you, Andy, Steve, Carl, and Gavin. Marcus, when you wake up, thank you for coming in earlier. On that note, let's go and get those 3 points. We are still in this fight. Evening, everybody.
Take care, everyone.